Hey guys, so today I want to talk about something I've been meaning to write for a while now. I actually had a partial script written for this before, but it's been a while since then, and some things have changed in the Windows ecosystem. So first things first, I'm not telling you to completely stop using Windows. I'm well aware of the fact that some people quote-unquote need Windows because they are attached to proprietary apps. My argument here is that I'm telling you to stop using Windows as a host or as the bare metal operating system as you will. So for those of you who watch my channel already know why I think Windows is a bad operating system, both from a practical and consumer point of view. This is meant to be a dedicated video for those of you who have not made the switch or haven't seen my other videos. I'm going to attack this topic from all angles here, from all facets of computing. So for my first reason is why you should switch to using Linux. Linux is a far more secure operating system. I can tell you throughout all my years as a Linux user, I have not once encountered malware intended for Linux. The reason for this is because not only is Linux more secure, as the user alone can destroy all security in a system, but Libre software is licensed under a GPL license, making it a requirement that the source code be available for all to audit. Now, to be fair, this doesn't mean software is inherently malware free, but it does make it possible to dissect the source code and find malicious code embedded inside. People do actually do this, believe it or not. I actually read over source code myself sometimes to make sure that there is no malicious functions inside, although I typically only really do this with lesser known software. But that being said, it does pay to be paranoid. Always treat your system like a loaded gun if you do install things you're not sure about, and if you do, install on a virtual machine, which I will touch on later. But part of the reasoning for this is because on Linux, we get most of our software from our distributions repositories, something that Windows does not have a true counterpart to. The closest thing is the Microsoft Store, but there is indeed malicious software in the Microsoft Store because they don't audit the store to any real capacity, besides checking for SCID malware checksums, which have often been around for more than a decade, though there are others like Chocolatey and Scoop, but I don't know too much about those, so I can't really speak for those. But at the same time though, the attack surface on Windows is so high you can never really be too sure. Now, reason 2, Linux is a far more private operating system. There are almost no Linux distros that come pre-installed with telemetry enabled, and none that I know of, unless you install Red Star OS, in which case, hello North Korean Linux user, I'm glad to have you here. Some distros and desktop environments come with the option to enable telemetry so that you can help the developers make their software better, but it is always a choice and never a default, let alone even a forced one. Windows is not like this at all. Windows has telemetry casting components deeply embedded into nearly every facet of its operating system, something that can never be truly disabled, even through the settings. Not only this, Windows has confirmed NSA backdoors that are likely exploited by malicious parties. They've been in there for a while now, so I'm sure somebody may have potentially discovered it yet, and there's no way we would know unless those people got caught, and they're probably still not going to spill the lid on that. That's something that Linux doesn't have, which is both a privacy and security concern. Reason 3 is that Linux is a far more reliable operating system. I'm sure you have heard the age-old meme of leave a Windows machine turned off for a month and something will break when you turn it back on, but you do the same with a Linux machine for a decade and it will keep on working even after you update it. But that's not a joke. Linux is a rock-solid operating system that only breaks due to user negligence. Not only this, but Linux is a much simpler operating system, which allows you to fix things yourself instead of having to rely on a tool potentially existing to fix the problem. Not only is that an issue on Windows, but it isn't one on Linux. I guarantee you that if there is something that is a cumbersome chore or an issue, someone out there made a patch, made a tool or a script to fix it. Now, reason 4 is that Linux is an operating system about choice, about freedom, to do what you wish. When you download and install a copy of Linux, you own that operating system just as much as you own the hardware that you run it on. You are free to break it, fix it, modify it, and redistribute it as you please. Linux is constantly improving, and it only gets better from here. You have the choice to run whatever desktop environment or window manager suits your workflow, your choice of apps and tools to get the job done, and most of them are all free, not just in price, and sometimes not even in price, but also in speech. Here's the deal, guys. I understand that some people, quote unquote, cannot fully switch to Linux, but my solution to you is that you can virtualize Windows to do whatever work it is you need to do that doesn't work on Linux. But I don't suggest installing regular Windows though. I suggest installing Windows AME, which I have a few videos on. And I have a video for GPU pass-through if you're looking to play your games in Linux too, through a Windows VM for games that don't work on Proton. Almost all software will work in a VM right out of the gate, and the software that doesn't can be fooled with a little bit of VM trickery. My question to you is, what is truly stopping you from making the switch to Linux now? And while you're here, why not try out some of the lovely FOSS that we have here on Linux? Become base Linux Chads today, guys, and shed the cold grip of Microsoft's clutches today. Now with that out of the way, I want to talk to you guys who have been around for a while. I want you to know that I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I know I haven't been uploading as consistently lately, and that's because these past few weeks, I've been dealing with a lot going on in my life. I've been dealing with a lot in the real world, but don't worry, it's nothing bad, it's all good stuff. And as such, I'd like to make an announcement. I'm getting a new IT position that is going to allow me to accrue more much needed funds to help fuel things in my personal life. And as such, it is going to allow me to ramp up content on my YouTube channel. Now, one thing that I have mentioned in the past, I might not have mentioned it, I may have, but I know I wouldn't have gotten into detail on it, is that I'm actually in possession of some older rack servers that I have been meaning to do something with, and I've decided that one of the things that I want to do with them is host some game servers for us to enjoy and socialize on. It will take some time for me to get them together and to get my affairs with my ISP in order, but I feel it would be a good opportunity to not only get to know you guys and vice versa, but possibly even involve some of you guys in the channel. They will, of course, be free to access to the public, but let me know down in the comments what games you'd like for me to host. Obviously, Minecraft will be on there. That's kind of like a given, but I'm open to suggestions even if they may be games that I don't play. My only stipulation is that they have to be games that are friendly with Linux. I obviously don't want to host games that, my intended audience is not able to play. With that out the way, thanks for watching my video, guys. Check out some of my other content, and I hope to see you in the next one.